want to play, it's difficult. And in that time, you have to continue with the idea, to do what you have to do, pass the ball, move the ball inside, outside, move right, left, right in the line, and right time to punish them. And when you lose the ball, don't let them run a counter-attack, always in being position to do that. And today they did it perfectly.
When you can see the second early into the second half, it's a difficult game plan from there on, isn't it?
Yeah, change a little bit because also the option that you have on the bench to change a game against a team like Manchester City is not easy. So then it's more complicated than, okay, we have to manage, and then it's a pity because I think that the team was training well and then it was mentally ready, but we have to concentrate now in the next game.
What about that second goal? Was it sweet from the moment you hit it?
You know, these times when you hit and you know it's going to be something's going to happen. So, yeah, I don't have many chances to shoot, but in this situation I was so clear to shoot, and fortunately it was in a beauty, and I was watching the screen to realize the goal I scored.
Yeah, a couple of great goals in that game, which I'm sure will be part of Goal of the Month in a couple of weeks' time. But we're going to really look at here just the different ways that City can attack you. And there are so many ways that they do that.
Yeah, look, they can pick you apart basically however they want. I mean, Conor's been kind of front and centre and felt it on the pitch, but we're going to get into kind of how they did it against Everton today and how the numerous ways they can do it. We've got John Stones on the ball, and as he just drives into midfield, I've just paused it here because if you're Rafa Benitez here, you think, right, defensive unit's in a decent spot. I've got this, the middle of the pitch is flooded with players. So essentially what he's saying is, you're not coming through here. This is where I don't want you coming through. He's got the bodies, that's all protected. But what City are brilliant at is they always hold width. So now they're going to start asking you questions. I've got wide players, which gives players like John Stones, I can go here, I can go here. That's one option. Another problem they will cause is they'll go, right, what are you going to do with him? Because Luca Dean's looking, going, hang on a minute, if he makes a run, I've got a problem, but I've got to keep my eye on this situation here. The biggest issue I think they felt today, which I want to get into Conor's kind of ear about, was the false nine situation, because today it was Palmer and Gundogan that kind of played in this type of area all day long. And the problems that they caused Godfrey and Keane is what I want to know, really. What are the issues you're dealing with when you're dealing with false nines? We see them so much.
It's who to mark.
Yeah.
Who to mark. In that situation, I feel for Ben and I feel for Keane because it's who do you mark, because I'll be honest with you, I thought Palmer was outstanding, by the way.
Yeah.
For an 18-year-old, I think he's 18-year-old, and I think the way he changed with Gundogan was incredible. Do you know what I mean? The way they worked together, and it's who to mark, and you see now.
Yeah, because as you know, if you just kind of like run it back slightly, there's a point where you just think, right, all of a sudden they've gone from marking nobody to hang on a minute, you know, we're going into the box almost 2v2. And the actual reality of it is that Gundogan's made a really smart run just in behind off the back of Godfrey. So it's Keane that's got to deal with Gundogan and Sterling. But it's just one of the ways that they'll pick you apart. Go to another one here, another clip. So as we run this on, we spoke about the Godfrey and Gundogan situation. So there's Palmer in pocket there, and there's Gundogan, right? When you run this on, I started to feel that Godfrey's getting a bit frustrated here. And that's what must happen, because he's thinking, I need to get tight to him because he's dictating the play. I think he makes the right decision on this occasion. If you watch him, he just backs off. And he goes, no, I'm not going to have it. But in doing so, look at that lovely pocket of space that's opened up for Gundogan. And then that's that link now we're talking about with Palmer. And you've sent them wide, they've caused you a problem. Now we're going through you. Luca Dean completely switches off. It's a simple run from Bernardo Silva, and they play through you, and it's City at their best, but probably should have got their goal at the end of it. Now, this is the one here, I think, Conor, where when you're in that position, the frustration builds with City and what they can do to you, because this is what happens when he makes the wrong decision, Godfrey. He decides, actually, I'm going in tight. There he is. I mean, I'll highlight him for you. He's on Gundogan. He's gone, I've had enough. Yeah. Is that what happens? Do they just play that much that you just start making some of the wrong decisions?
Without a doubt. And we say it's the wrong decision, but you know if he whips it into Gundogan's feet and Ben goes and intercepts, it's a brilliant piece of defending. And that's the decision-making of Manchester City. I think it's how they play. That's how they want to do things. They want to drag you out. And I think we spoke about today the spacing behind there, JJ, where the ball and gets... That's a centre-half playing that pass.
Well, the thing is, because I feel like Everton at this point have gone, well, let's engage, let's get a little bit higher up the pitch. But City are just... They know their intelligence, their footballing intelligence on the pitch when things are happening, of when to go in behind, when to go wide, when to go through the middle. This typifies it here, because Everton have got frustrated and gone, we're going to engage now. And City go, all right, come on then, you engage, we're going behind you this time. And it must just be infuriating as a player facing it.
Are there two things for Godfrey in a couple of those situations? So it's one, if you haven't had that contact for ages, you kind of go looking for it so that you feel that you've done something.
Yeah, and I think more so with someone like Godfrey, who's a really, by the way, he's a top player, top defender, but he's a really aggressive player. I think he wants to be tight to people. He's big, he's strong, he's fast. And I think he wants to be tight to people. And I think it'll probably get to a point where we mentioned before about not marking anyone.
Yeah.
They've not been marking anyone.
No,
and now all of a sudden, Gundogan's getting into these spaces where he's turning and slipping passes. Yeah. And you think, I've got to get tight to him.
And you want to mark someone.
Of course you do. Yeah. As a centre-half, you want to be aggressive and you want to have somebody, but then you've got Laporte who can flip a ball in the end.
And then the other thing in all of these, you're playing them at a really slow pace to emphasise the point.
This is happening at 100 miles an hour.
Yeah, this is happening at 100 miles an hour for Ben Godfrey and Michael Keane and the rest of the Everton team.
Without a doubt, and the decision-making of Manchester City is incredible. I think that's what puts them on that sort of level, because the decision-making, we mentioned, Laporte could have easily passed the ball into Gundogan there, and Ben Godfrey steps inside and Everton are away again. But it's not. The decision-making and the timing of the passing behind is fantastic.
But, you know, even after all that, and that's dealing with individuals, you come together collectively as a team, and sometimes you're on the pitch, you know, Conor's been there, you're like, get your shape. Everyone just get your shape. This is getting your shape here. So here's 4 at the back, 4 in the midfield, and you've got your 2 up top. This is them holding their shape. But when people talk about playing in between the lines, and you want to know what that is, that's playing in between the lines there. So you've got the City team playing in between the lines. When those lines become too wide and too big, this is like City dreamland. This is what they'll pick you apart. And their game now is, how do I get in behind the strikers? How do I get in behind that midfield? Ball into Palmer. The minute this ball goes into Palmer now, you're at their mercy, because you've got an absolute speed merchant in Kyle Walker down that right-hand side, and it's just about timing. You're too high up the pitch, we're in behind, and Sterling should score. It was just like a buffet of how good we are and how many options we have to score against you at any given time. But dealing with it just must be a nightmare.
When you watch that and it's done like that, is that, from Manchester City, is that really complicated or really simple?
I'll be honest with you, I think it's complicated for us sat here, and I think it's really simple for them. That's what I really think, because it's just repetition. It's repetition, and we can sit here every week and we can talk about Manchester City, and we'll talk about the width, we'll talk about the 10s, we'll talk about the false 9, we'll talk about the interchanges and the movement, but it's just simple for them, and they do it, and the decision-making is incredible.
Which is why if you have someone like Palmer who's come through, like Foden has come through, that they look comfortable as soon as they get in, and maybe why signings, and I'm not mentioning any names, just signings in particular will take time to...
From people sat here now, I think when you see at a club like Manchester City where they've bought the players that they've bought, world-class players, incredible footballers, but then you see someone come through the academy and play like he has done today, it's so refreshing to see. And listen, it's brilliant to see, because he's done absolutely fantastic.
We're going to